Hey everyone, this is Oliver from Data Academy. In this playlist, we're going to be doing an Object-Oriented Programming project, or OOP. Before you do this project, I recommend that you watch my tutorial on OOP. It will be in the top right corner of the screen now. This project is going to be called Retail Queue Simulation, and as the name suggests, we're going to be simulating a retail queue. I'm currently on the GitHub, so let's take a quick look at the README. It says that this retail queue simulation is going to compare a big queue that leads to every cashier or multiple small queues with a cashier each. We're only going to be implementing the simulation of one big queue that leads to every cashier. The technologies we used are Python version 3.9.4, and we also used the random and datetime modules. So before we begin coding out our project, let's first think about how we can visualize it and separate our files. We'll go to the whiteboard to explain further. Let's first think about what we're simulating and what it's going to look like. So our user will be able to input two different numbers. The first one is the number of cashiers. Let's say this is 2. And they're also going to be able to input the number of customers. Let's say this is 5. What it's going to look like is there's going to be a long counter. And there's going to be 2 cash registers, since they inputted 2. They're going to be numbered 1 and 2. And this is going to be the front of the line over here. And our customers will line up like this. The line is going to flow this way. Once they get to the front of the line, they will be able to go to any cashier. This person can go to cashier number 1 or number 2. An important thing to think about while coding out this project is it's going to take different amounts of time for a customer to walk to a cash register that is closer to them as opposed to one that is further from them. So how are we going to make sure that we account for this time difference? Another thing we have to think about is which register will they decide to go to? Or how do they know that it's their turn to go to a register? These are all some things for you to think about before we start our project. And another thing we need to think about is separation of concerns. So let's write that out here. Separation of concerns is just splitting our code into multiple files, and we split them by concerns. A concern is code that does a certain job. For example, one concern may be getting input from the user, another may be storing data, and another may be setting up our environment. There are a couple reasons why we like to separate our concerns. The first one is that it improves readability. The second one is that it improves maintainability. The third one is that it makes debugging easier. And finally, the fourth is that it makes it easier to reuse code. All we need to do is import the file again. You may have taken a peek at the beginning of the video and seen all the files that we're going to have, but I'm still going to go over them. The first one and the second one are going to be our classes. They're both going to have their own files. We're going to have a class for our cashiers, and we're also going to have a class for our customers. After that, we're going to have a file that will interact with the user. This one will be called input. Next, we're going to have a class that's going to set up our environment. And then we're going to have a file that will set up our environment. We're also going to have a file that will simulate. And finally, we're going to have a file called main. This is where everything comes together, and we're going to be able to simulate the model that we just set up, and we're also going to be able to take input and access our cashier and customer classes. So in the next video, we're going to be live coding our classes, cashier and customer. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.